Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to discuss chapter 5, All Religions Must Disappear. It's obviously going to be a difficult topic for people to initially understand. Hopefully this chapter will explain things in a little bit more detail. So from my perspective, and that is as God's chosen, you're all seen, but only God chooses who will be seen. Religion puts you on the wrong path and takes you away from God. It is not needed, and nothing about or from religion is required, relevant, or of value. All that religion has done and continues to do is perpetuate lies, corruption, child abuse, servitude, a follow or die mentality, a superior group membership philosophy, and distrust between who is right. I state, pardon me, I state clearly, and for all to hear, everyone can reach God without religion. Religion is the embodiment of corruption of God. There is no such thing as a hierarchy to God. That if you follow religion and reach ever higher levels of attainment granted by people within that dominion, you reach God, or a higher level with God, or God sooner. Bestowing habits in degrees or at all is about as far from God as it gets. The path I found could easily be the path you find, and no religion can show this path. I will show you it. Therefore, I have nullified all religion. Anyone in any religion will never know God. If I allow this festering evil to perpetuate, it will consume everyone. You have actually seen the sign God placed on the sun that shows I was chosen, and I have relayed the words that God has actually spoken to me. Well, trust in me that He has spoken. God has not ever spoken to you out aloud or through an object. Listen to yourselves if you think He spoke through a fire, the most powerful being in existence, and you think He requires a fire to speak, or talks out of a wall. I can tell you right now that you are talking out of your arse. No, He can speak directly into your mind. So why again is He speaking out of a fire? I will say bluntly, you are being deceived if you believe anything other than what I state in this book, the truth. It is time, if you wish to meet God, to follow my words and listen to a real chosen of God. I will tell you a few things that are correct. So forget about the false God spoken about in religion or religions. Your made-up God, and let me tell you about the real God. A Q-type being exists. By this I mean an omnipotent, powerful being beyond our understanding. The Q-type being phrasing came from Star Trek terminology. This being answers to the word God, and also Q-type being. God is not Jesus, and Jesus is not God. Do not pray to, about, or through Jesus to reach God. God can and has chosen a human representative, a Messiah, if you like that term. So far, only me, from what I did. There is no way anyone else has achieved it. God does answer some requests for signs from chosen people. You must indicate the reason for the sign when you ask. God can read your mind. God can put words into your mind, speaking to you. He does not speak aloud or through objects. God does not grant immortality in the real world. You live, you die. God does not light candles just to show you He can light candles. God is in the real world, not the dream world. Nothing to do with the dream world. The signs you choose, if you are chosen, will be real physical signs in the real world performed by God. You do not need to raise your arms up to God or bow down. He sees all. It won't get you any closer. In fact, you will be going the wrong way. You do not need to grasp your hands together. God is not there for when you have an accident. Go to hospital. Go see a doctor. A reason which is obvious is so people are not beholden to him for some quick fix which leads to everyone losing free will and freedom. So no, anyone showing any type of healing has nothing to do with God. God is never going to answer or bless you. God is never going to answer your prayers. God does not go around answering calls from people that are not worthy of his focus. First, you have to ask yourself, you have to ask him to show you he is real before you earn the right to ask. God does not care if you masturbate or have sex before marriage or children out of wedlock. These are all made up by religion. When God has chosen you to be the next Messiah, you'll know, but you'll have to earn it by being anonymous and helping as many people as you can and solving as many of those problems as you can. Only by being anonymous will you ever reach the status of chosen and be given the chance to use God's power to show the world you were chosen. It is okay to hurt someone or a neighbour if it is defending your sanity or your body. So if harm is going to come to you, you can send them a message if they refuse to listen to reason with words. It does not hurt to ask God when you are 4 years old or around there, if you are suspicious of the world not being quite right, to allow you to have a normal childhood. Yeah. I am one of the few that can understand the reason for a chosen. Yet the chosen does not get, let's say, all wishes granted. So the quintessential person that would give up everything, so left unloved, alone, with nothing, just so that more life can exist. My life, my existence is nothing compared to how much I would give to you. I do not mean a few coins so you can live another day. I mean grant you life so you can make something of it. That gift is the greatest gift I can think of. And so if I were capable, I too would come to see those that were worthy, because they would understand. I would show them that they are worthy. And so with life, this circle, it means so much. Were there a hall of fame of life, there would be my name on it. I hope you would wish to be on it as well. I do not need to worry if some of me is rubbing off onto God, as some of me is why I was chosen. The chosen can rest as the happiest people. Can you be chosen just by following my path? With sincerity, I believe so. But I'm not the one who can read your mind. I'm not the one who set the path, and I'm not the one who is right now looking at you, perhaps saying, try harder. And this does not mean perfect. I was never perfect. So yes, you can prove yourself. Still, however, as it is, you'll need to be incredibly smart to be chosen. No point choosing an earthworm. So if you're not smart, then there is no path for you. If you are unable to understand anything from this book, I will say no. Smart means, in this context, not religious and loves to absorb all knowledge of everything. Being smart sort of implies you will search, find, do what is required, no matter how impossible it seems. You will logically deduce, focus, and solve. All religions are false. What they espouse is wrong. If they wish to exist, they must change completely. The only acceptable book to me that anyone can reference or read about God will be this one. Until such time, God chooses another Messiah. And he can put a smiley face on the sun, then their book will be acceptable as well. Do not be taken in by false prophets, if you like. If they cannot put a smiley face on the sun recorded by a satellite watching the sun, no, they are false. What does this mean to you? No religious person will ever know God. You will lie to yourselves, you will believe in dreams, visions in dreams, lucid dreams, or each other without evidence. Believe in books with no corroborating evidence, only conflicting and incorrect nonsense brought together by idiots who think they know God. Religious people don't even feel the urge to look at real first-hand evidence provided by God in the shape and form I requested. This evidence is incontestable, which means you have your proof I am He, 100% proof. Which means when I tell you something, I have God's Q's trust behind me. And so I do care whether you believe it or not. It is simple science, testable, provable. Which means when you test it and find it to be true, you will also find that I am He. You will also have your 100% proof God Q exists, or an entity that answers to the name God Q, the type being, that has the power to do as they wish, and as you wish, if you are chosen. All you have to do is stop for a moment and let go of all the lies you have been given. The truth is waiting. Since we've been here but a fraction of the time of the universe, this Q-type being deity may have existed long before the world, and is also possible before everything we know. To infer that the world was created by this entity is nonsense, if other more plausible ways are available to the same effect. You have to understand how everything comes together before saying you know it all. Science, testing evidence will help with that. If God put together everything and it is measurable, then you should measure it. Put down childish ideas that you can answer the question that this entity created this universe and everything in it. Do not presume to speak for God. You have not been chosen. Do not presume to use any holy book written by anyone that is not chosen by God. I am the only person chosen by God, touched by God, verifiable by other people, by all people. And obviously what we may become in future. I know God's voice firsthand, and it is not a whisper, and he does not speak aloud to groups or nations. He only speaks to people that are worthy. A group is based on a set of principles and could even hold no people. If God spoke to groups, then that means he speaks to a group of no people, if no one is chosen. And if you think God speaks to a group of no people, you are stupid. You can easily tell made up shit when you are chosen. God does not choose illiterate people that cannot read, write, or think. No angel in any vision is related to God. When you are asleep and you get a vision, it's not real, people. It's just a lucid dream. Get over yourselves. You are not that important. Logic also dictates that God has no interest that what presides on earth, e.g. a court or finding, has any relevance to God's decisions or lack thereof in determination of events. Hence, if God existed, and I have all knowledge of such encounters, there is no court on the planet that would side with that knowledge being lost. So since I will die, this discounts this concept as nonsense. God does not care what rules, decisions you make on earth, as they do not apply to God, and nothing you say will make them apply to God. Anyone who says any rule made on earth God must accept and acquiesce to it is false. When I die, this will be proven, and all your religious texts are for naught. You cannot compel God to do your bidding because you wrote it down or spoke it aloud. What kind of a moron are you? As it happens, my definition that I'm happy with is an entity responding to the name God with the power it has shown so far, is presumably capable of creating universes and everything in them. However, I don't have the understanding of a deity, so cannot explain how a universe could be created and from where. My concept is the universe ruptured from a dimension, and there could be many universes, which, yes, could be detected. If they collided through the CMB, yes, I knew they could be detected through the CMB before anyone, as I came up with M theory about the multiverse. However, I did not say and would not say anything about the CMB, as I wanted to see if any scientists were as smart as me and would figure that part out. I was roughly 5 at the time, but I believe the CMB, I thought that was a bit later, maybe 7 or something. Yeah, when I considered the CMB as a place to sit. I have concluded that to experience all permutations of a universe, the being would have to be in it at some point and make changes. It therefore stands to reason, if this was so, then at some point we would cross paths, so to speak. Was smart enough to work out what would pique the interest of this being, and so found the path, and this path is completely different to the path religions are on. So religions can change, or no one following them will ever meet God. It's that simple. So how do we get to this situation where religion is so wrong? First, religion must understand why it exists. Mostly, religion is born of the concept that a dumb kid person who cannot read or write saw a vision in their sleep, and everyone around them fell to their knees when they explained it. Yeah, right. I am the Messiah, the chosen, and no one believes me. That some deformed or illiterate person was somehow seeing or hearing God is about as far from God as it gets. Deformity or illiteracy does not make you worthy. So the more illiterate you get, the more worthy you get. The more deformed you get, the more worthy you get. You need to stop and listen to me. No. You are chosen from your deeds. Having a dream does not make you worthy. Sorry. This concept also affects people who quote others. If you quote anyone without explaining the context, the quote, where the quote came from, then you are an illiterate, in my opinion. Do you know why I do not need to quote anyone? It is because I know what I'm talking about and the context of everything I say. Also, religion came around as people in ancient history tried to make sense of the world around them, with no science at that time or concept of science to offer any meaningful reasoning to them. Without the concept of science to offer any meaningful reasoning to them. People with no scientific grounding attributed their misunderstanding of the world to gods, sun gods, water gods, and so on, and then as time progressed with no definitive solutions, decided that they themselves were the embodiment of God's wishes and everyone else should bow down to their understanding. Finally reducing all the gods down to one, as all the evidence for any god dwindled with greater understanding of the world around them. Slowly and surely science gained more ground and God lost ground. Now the only way for that to happen, and this means you are intelligent enough to understand it, means the religions were wrong to start with. You want to know how wrong? About as wrong as it gets. They couldn't be more wronger. Religions wrote lots of books and assumed at a later date it would all be sorted out. Only it wasn't. It is now. Slowly, over time, more and more people were corrupted by endless tautologies and stories. Each religion saying God would send a messenger to only them and say they were right, and all the others were wrong. each saying the messenger in the next 2,000 years would clear away all the lies of the other, or the next period of time. That time frame has ended, or I am the last generation, when referring to these Abrahamic religions. God has reclaimed the right to show everyone who he is. You do not need to believe, you only need to open your eyes, for I have shown you the evidence, the truth. Religion is very lucky I decided to solve the issue of whether there was any truth to a possible omnipotent being actually watching. I resolved all the factors that I would consider relevant if I were a god, and it was about being worthy. Since no religion has any clue what being worthy is, and why should they? They are about as far from God as it is possible to be. Making up nonsense about bowing, praying, singing songs, spending your life worshipping. There is little consensus in the world's religions, and much depends on dreams, lucid dreams, coincidences, fallacies, prophets, clairvoyants, mentalists, and suggestion. Suggestion that people free of disease or illness is caused by God. Trust me, it is not. God has no inclination about helping individuals unless you are chosen, and you are not. You think you can invoke Q and he will heal people? No. Doctors have healed more people than Q. And Q has healed exactly 0 people. What makes your evolutionary position worthy? If you are not worthy of God's notice to be chosen, what makes you think you are worthy of being healed? Trust me, you are lying to yourself, a complete and total fabrication made up to compel you to believe it. It is simply not true. You can know the truth by listening to me and the logic. God does not even heal the chosen, so trust me. To keep free will, you cannot go around healing everyone. All that happens is you get worshippers that won't want doctors. They won't want anyone to do anything themselves and just rely on God. You have free will. Free will is completely at odds with healing people. Can you not see this? God does not speak through fire. God can speak straight into your mind, and it should be obvious this part of history is nonsense. God literally has the power to read your mind and speak to you in your mind. Q does not have a limiting human body. Obviously, this would be absurd. At which point in evolution would you choose a body? So no, Q does not have or need a form that we can understand, and just because it does not have a form we can understand doesn't mean it is a spirit. It is the same being, the same entity. It is you that does not understand it. Since God has made a major change, major verifiable change in the world by having a chosen at this time, this means God has changed everything. And just in case you think God needs your permission to choose anyone, he doesn't. God does not need your permission to change anything, nor is he beholden to anything you say. But you all said there would be a chosen by God a Messiah in 2,000 years, or a period of time. And here I am with proof. So you must choose one or the other. I suspect you are in a contradiction. Designed. Well, let's say I discussed it with God, perhaps, this conundrum. When you don't like something, you act like children. Instead, you should stand proud like a man and accept when you are wrong. It does not surprise me that religions are corrupt criminal organizations, feasting off the fears and hopes of people. For too long the people have suffered, but not anymore, for I bring the truth. You see, there is so much that all religions get wrong. That is because they were not written by a chosen Messiah. They were written by idiots who think they are worthy to speak on the matter. This Q-type being does not take petty requests, So if you ask God to light a candle, it is a little demeaning and proves nothing. It is not God, is not at your beck and call as a chosen. Just to put this into perspective, let's say you created the entire living universe. Then someone asks you to light a candle to show if you like the black dress or red dress for a party. I think facepalm comes to mind. Naturally, this is very funny. I did not use that example. However, I did want to answer that question, so you have your answer for that one. Also, he doesn't give in to the "are we there yet" child's play concept with the candle. Well, I think it's worth knowing, don't you? Thoughts? Well, that's exactly what I thought about this while laughing. He must think we are very primitive. Sometimes I say to him, you must have found that funny. I did. You as a people are very bad at understanding data set and events. This has been proven using computers and obvious to me. Just because an event occurs and is unexplainable does not mean it was from God, or does not mean it doesn't have an explanation. Hence the concept of sun gods, war gods, wind gods, water gods, etc. in nearly every early religion. All the dreams of men and women are just that, dreams made up by your mind. Your dream mind pulls 3 to 4 old memories and merges them with a newer memory. When you wake up, you may have startling new thoughts, but these are not from God. All religious texts need to be put down. If you wish to find God, then use this book and only this book. Since religion is run by fanatical people with no respect for God, his chosen, or the truth, it is unlikely they will change, even though they are false. It's criminal organisations for you. To even remain a religion, you would have to understand all current religious books have no place, and there is only this book, until such time as another chosen appears. Get that large red texter and remove every passage ever written by a prophet in every religious book, and let's see what's left of history. If a religion is to remain, it must change to represent what I say, as I am the only one who has ever been chosen to date. It must move with God and the chosen. It must become a living embodiment of attainment towards God. And unless God will put a smiley face on the sun for you, you are not chosen. If any religion does not accept God's change, then it does not represent God. If your religion is unchanging and does not move as God does, then it is nullified and no longer exists. Your religion does not represent God or a path to finding God. If God makes a change and you're unwilling to make that change, then you are wrong and you have failed. Everything you stand for and your whole religion has failed. If God's messenger says no more sacrifices, then that means no more sacrifices. If God's messenger says no more praying, then that means no more praying. If God's messenger says no more killing, then that means no more killing. God has made it that simple for you. Because there hasn't been a God's messenger before that I know of, and no religious figure is even close, all religions have drifted away from God, or have had no guidance from God for a long time and need to align with God's requirements again. Given a chance to prove to the world God exists, yes, I took that challenge. It was not easy, and you get nothing else for it, and no one wants to believe you, even with evidence. So it is an interesting question. Why do it? Why volunteer to have such a life? Well, that is the question, isn't it? What sort of person are you? Would I do it again? Certainly, I step up to challenges. All commandments that you know of were written by men who were not touched by God. All commandments except those I give are considered nullified, unless they are the same as those I have given. Coincidences happen. All religions should be telling you how to reach the path to God. You are not beholden to any rules or regulations of any religion that do not allow you to reach the level of chosen. There is no heaven and no hell. There is earth. Since I am chosen and still on earth, this should tell you something. It certainly means there is a test here on earth, and you have not passed it. And even when you pass this ultimate test, I know of no ascension to a higher plane of existence. Though it would be nice if God explained the anomaly at some point. Some religions answer the anomaly by saying there is a heaven. There is no such evidence. So please don't use it, and heaven is a waste of time for me. I would prefer to stay and help more people, forever, as some ascended godlike being, but again there is no evidence for this, so you can rule this out. There would be no point doing it after you die. There would be more of a point in doing it when you are alive, so no one would know you had changed over. If you are into Star Wars, I have a good analogy for you. In essence, I met God, God listened, God allowed me to show you because I was unbelievably strong in the good side of the Force. Star Wars fans should get that one. Yes. When I say you need to change, this is not asking. This is not me pleading, hoping, begging, demanding. This is simply and factually telling you. This is simply and factually me telling you. You say you want to know God, then I'm telling you how to do it. No more, no less. When I say I'm He, I do not lie. When I say no religion and religious person as it stands will ever know God, I do not lie. I demand nothing of you. God demands nothing of you. What kind of fool demands respect? What kind of fool demands worship? What kind of fool demands love? What kind of fool demands obedience? What kind of fool demands anything the religions say God demands of you or needs from you? There is no toll. You are free to enjoy life. If you wish to waste your entire life being a sycophant, it won't get you any closer. The words in this book will. Go love a goat for all I care, but when it comes to God, only, and I mean only if you wish to meet him, will your life be worthy. And when you are chosen, you will know then how to show respect. But if you do not wish to, or do not know of God, then there is no penalty. Any man who says there is a penalty for not knowing God will make some shit up in their religion, for example, to explain this in some weird and wonderful way deserves to be slapped by me, but they will not be penalised for it. You can deny God and you will not be penalised. With an open mind, someone can solve any problem. It is this freedom, this free will, this ultimate achievement that is the most important. Achieving it or giving it are the same to me. You have succeeded in life, be it a deity, alien or human, or what's next. It does not require a sacrifice. It does require a sacrifice, yours, to give it, for someone has to know it. Same with the sacrifice to know it. What you two do is beyond words of excellence, the epitome of good, the final level, and were there to exist another level, you are ready for it. You could walk up to God's face and say, F you, bitches, and you will not be penalised. Since God is all around you, the most I would do is look on at you incredulously, in the manner as in, did you want to meet me or are you wasting my time? Let's see if you have some game. Some humour first. You have my attention. Now, you should note this entity responding to the name God Q does not automatically perform actions when you are chosen. I wonder about one instance, though, which may have been to get my attention to get out of the anonymous phase. Apart from that, each time I had to ask for a specific act and it was performed. So this denotes intelligence and not some automatic script. The request is also mulled over, and you have to justify it before it is performed. God does not go around performing actions to ordinary people. This would only show no intelligence, and no one needs to be worthy, which is not the case. Anyone who builds a house of worship, temple of worship, or church of worship has completely missed God, and is about as far from God as it gets. Next, you will tell me just because you built it does not mean you demand people worship. I see. All the empty spaces, seats, carpet positions, they're all there for show and nothing more. When you lie to me, you lie before God. If those places are not for worship, prostration, what are they for? And if they are not there for worship, prostration, prayer, under your guidance, lol, yes, laugh out loud, what are they then there for? Do not read any ambivalence in my position. If you are providing these positions for worship and donations, then you will never know God. As a kid, I remember taking a whole stash of leaflets from a church. Gave half to my brother so we could sell them for 10p each to get an ice cream. As I recall, my brother got a really large cornetto, like a double size, and I got a normal one. After about 30 minutes of trying, and dumped the rest in the bin. We sell a few. I think the double size cornetto was 50p. I do not belong to or follow any religious observances, which means God is telling you all religions are wrong and need to change. If you wish to be chosen by God, touched by God, meet God, discuss with God, you will heed this. Some of Christianity perhaps comes closest when it decided that maybe God chooses a representative on earth at intervals or through a selection process. But it would have to cut ties with everything else and rebuild itself around this book only. The rabbi known as Jesus was not chosen because it's all based on a foundation of lies. You will be chosen because you stayed away from that foundation of lies and knew where the truth was to be found. When God chooses, you know you are chosen, physically, undeniably. Yes, I am incredibly humble. That's why I'm not on the streets shouting and screaming at everyone. I'm here for you. The message will eventually find you. Perhaps long after I'm gone, but it will find you. It will find everyone on this planet, so do not be left behind. Sit with me and listen. I am your friend, if you wish to be friends. I do not care about you if you do not wish to make something of your life. You have one life. Please, please use it. Judaism, with its idea of making the earth good enough for God to come down or stay down, is nonsensical and obviously nonsense. If God is already here and the world is a mess, obviously nonsense, and the world's a mess. Nor does Judaism even care about God. If they did, they would listen when I speak. They have chosen to be deaf, and so God will be deaf to them. We do not control God's actions, but we can listen to them through a chosen person. Islam has a lot to change. Islam was written by a mentalist, a deception artist, a prophet, and needs a big red marker put through all of it, as do all religions. There are changes ahead for all religions if you ever wish to find God. If you represent a religion and you wish your religion to lead to God to being chosen, then you need to put down all your books and pick up only this one. For this is the only book written by a chosen of God with evidence in this, the real world. Forget all the nonsense about God coming in dreams and how the world was made in so many days, and look to the real world and measurable, testable science. Forget all the people and prophets that have said God came to them in a dream. These are all false prophets. Sharia laws have nothing to do with God. Jewish laws have nothing to do with God. Christian laws have nothing to do with God. They're all there to control you, and all are written by men, by what they think God wants. If God does not control you with strings, why do you let religions do this? Do not be afraid that God is here and has chosen. Lay down the words of false prophets and pick up the words of truth. The only heaven in any manner of interpretation that I would be happy with as a chosen is being chosen, that I would be happy with is being chosen. That is it. Because if there is such a thing as reaching the final level, you have achieved it if you are chosen. And if you are chosen, you will be able to put a smiley face on the sun. It is time for all Muslims to put down the Quran and join the world, a world that God is in, and when God chose me, he chose all these words. I despise, and so God does, every Muslim as they are today, as you have been lied to. It is time to drop religion and time to embrace earth as one. You'll never pass God's tests while you're in servitude to Islam. If you cannot change, then you are not on the path to finding God, and I'm sorry. Religion should be here to document only the words of the Messiah, the true chosen of God, which is me at this time. If God does not choose anyone else, do not presume to think you can choose yourself. I am the messenger for God. When you can put a giant smiley face on the sun, like I have, then you are the Messiah, the chosen. That is by God's decree and not any person. The only valid words are therefore that of mine, the chosen by God. Do not call yourself chosen, do not call yourself called. You do not speak for God. You do not get to dictate to God who is chosen or what any person should do before God. Stop idol worshipping yourselves. Only God chooses, and he has chosen one person and only one person. Do not presume to know the chosen person. Do not presume to know how God chose this person. Do not presume to interpret any message, sign, or word not given or acknowledged by me. Stop believing you are worthy. Only one person is worthy to speak for God. Put aside all your saints and all your effigies of people you think represent the spirit or person of God, and listen to the messenger of God. Put down all words not spoken by me. These people were not chosen. Sit down and listen to these words, for if God chooses one person, and that one person represents God, then God's message comes with this person. I was touched, I am the messenger. You are here because there is something missing in your life, a true path to God. You spend all your time praying, worshipping. You do everything the religions have asked and told you to do, and yet God ignores you. God has never touched you. You may say you feel him, you may say you see his miracles every day, you may even say he helps you in your day-to-day activities. If you are religious, you probably say you dream about God all the time and you are special in these dreams. There are many that say many things. These are excuses, as you will come to see. I could start by demanding things of you or asking things of you, but I'm not the head of a religion. I am instead the chosen of God, the Messiah. I'm here to show you many things, including, if you wish it, to follow in my path and meet God. So all these things that I say, you will have to choose to listen and follow. You have the freedom and free will to choose. You do not need God to enjoy your life. Just go and enjoy it. But if you wish to meet God, then you will need to forget if you can all other books and read this book. Then, if you are truly worthy, ask for a sign from God. Sincerely ask to be warned. When it happens, ask again, and you will know this book holds the path to God for everyone. God has changed the very fabric of this world by touching someone, by choosing me for a reason. This means there is a real path to God. It is therefore solid reasoning that if God has a chosen person, that it is with this help of this person that you will see God's interactions and God's grace. You do not need to believe false prophets any longer. You know why? The true Messiah can show you the truth, as in show you the truth. I am not lying. I'm saying show as in the real world, as in the whole planet, as in everyone. Seek the time-lapse video of the smiley face on the sun. It is what a true Messiah can do. Do not feel sad at this. Look at this with great understanding. You have learned 4 things today. First, you know for certainty this entity really exists. Second, it can touch and choose people as messengers. Third, for God to choose, there must be a path to being chosen. And finally, this entity appears to be understanding. Instead, this is a day of great rejoicing for you. This is your first day being shown a true path to God. Whether you wish to step onto this path is up to you. God could quite easily eliminate free will in an instant by touching everyone. He has not. So you must trust in God that under free will is how your life should be, and that any feeling of God in your day-to-day world is just your overzealous mind wanting it to be true. There is a difference between wanting something to be true and something being true. God will not come to your aid no matter how many times you pray. This is religion talking. Put this away and listen. I was given 4 signs over my life to this point, and let's not forget a short 2-way discussion with God, and the first sign was repeated twice. So enough to know with complete certainty of the things I say. If you were told anything of truth from your religious books, you were told that there would be lies all around you, but the Almighty would show you the way. So do you not understand what I will show you means? It means you and the whole world will see it. I am He. I am not a 7 foot tall. I'm not 7 foot tall, and I do not shoot lightning out of my arse. I am Matthew Groom, chosen by God, Q. God placed a giant smiley face on the sun after several of my one-way discussions with him, where I explained the reason why it was required. If you must know, the discussions were a debate on whether I was crazy. Could it be possible that during each of the signs I lapsed into some crazy state, unaware of the proceedings, and integrated those events as factual when in fact they were delusions of a genius mind gone too far? One of the discussions, I decided to place Jordan Peterson as a devil's advocate against my being sane, and the events could all have happened in episodes of delusion. I discussed heartily that I did not think I was crazy, but Jordan Peterson pressed the issue with something like, how can you be sure? But can you be sure? And I could not. And then he said in his typical way, aha. Let's do the finger boy. Ha ha. Got you. So yes, no matter how I looked at it, it was possible that all these events happened in a window of delusion. How would I know? So I further went over the specifics of what I would ask. Then I asked God Q. I knew God Q had granted it a couple of weeks after it had been splashed in different online media places and taken up, and then propagated to places where I saw it had occurred exactly as specified. Although my my explanation, I should say, when I say vision, is like seeing it. When I saw it, it was like be a nice, large mouth, but the sign that God had combined the mouth with the nose, which I thought was very efficient. I thought that was good. You know, how you sort of contained the the structure of the nose using the mouth. I thought it was very, very clever. God's very clever. Not unsurprisingly. All religions have gone astray. There are many reasons. Some include prophets, mentalists, clairvoyants, people thinking dreams are real, texts without verifiable authors, unchosen people writing anything, confusing coincidence with causality, and people thinking angels are real. Your dreams are made up of your memories, 4 to 5 older memories mixed with a new one. This is done for a number of reasons, one being to see where the new information should go, a new region or an old, handling new variables, integrating new variables and integrity checks of the system and so on. The fact you do not know is the same as it was in the olden days. People ascribe dreams as a conduit to God, holding nothing could be farther from the truth. The problem people have is you are compounding mistakes. So if you think about God in any way, read about it in any book, your mind will eventually turn this into dreams. And if you have a problem separating reality from dreams, you will get overloaded with what is right and fall down the wrong path. If you are having dreams and believe you are to be speaking to God in the dream, and you carry this on to the outside real world, or you believe you have visions in your dreams, then please visit a doctor. They will be able to help you with that. What you have is a disorder that you cannot separate reality from dreams. Dreams are a complex process provided by your inner self. From my research, a second CPU, if you like. Hidden processing capabilities. It brings together several concepts, things from older memories, and combines it with a concept thing from a newer memory. Sometimes you get lucky and wake up and realize a solution to something. This is a derivative of this creative process and not to be worried about. This is normal. What you shouldn't believe is anything in your dream is a real entity. Everything in your mind is created by your mind. If you are constantly having similar dreams, it is because you are just mixing the same recent memories with older memories. Try something new. Different, and you will find your brain will start combining the something new memories with the something old memories, and eventually your old memories will start being this something new memory. In summary, all religion is wrong. Stay away from it if you wish to find God. So yes, let's take a moment. There's a big chapter to take that in. So religion is basically the religious books just taking you down the wrong path. Many have been rewritten many times. So the original authors, if you like, have been lost. No book these days would ever be accepted without the author being known. Otherwise, the veracity of the words in the book cannot be trusted. And when we're dealing about a topic, we're not talking about, say, Shakespeare, where William Shakespeare took entire, perhaps many parts of the books were written by other people. We're not talking about a novel here. We're talking about actually specifically telling you about God from a real person, a real chosen. So there is no, when a book speaks to you of something, it must be accurate. There is no way you should accept any book where you do not know the author of the texts. If there's any discrepancy, it should all be thrown out. It is simple like that. And when I talk about the lies, yes, the entire, if you like, Bible and most, the original scripture text and all of that is just different people writing historical or trying their best to write some historical items down and with no original first-hand evidence material. So it should not be trusted. And clearly, from a research historical perspective, a lot of it has been proven to be incorrect, inaccurate. And if even one part, one section is known to be inaccurate, what is the chance of all of it being inaccurate, is the saying. So anyway, enjoy this chapter, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.